Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and as promised, we're going to start working on this engine harness. So we're going to build a couple of the little sub harnesses first. This will be for, this is like a coil extension. So I have a drawing right here, and basically this tells me what I need to do, where my brakes and everything are, dimensions. So, but based on that, we are going to, so I have 6 wires here that I'm going to splice into one. So we will strip off about 1/2 inch off of each one of these. And it's not precise because we're gonna put a splice in these. So, but we just want to have enough material off so that we can make sure our wires are fully, they're fully embedded into the splice. So this is a 16 gauge. So we're gonna strip this back. Okay, so we'll take these wires and we will put them together. And we're going to use this is called a parallel splice. I buy from ProWire. And then we will crimp this. And I always do it in 2 spots on the splice. So just make sure that I have a really good crimp. Okay, so then we're going to cut off a little bit of the tip that we don't need. We're going to grab some high temp tape and we're going to tape this up. Reason why I do this is 2 reasons. It adds a little extra insulation to the splice, and we're going to shrink this with a piece of SCL, which is a glue embedded heat shrink. So we'll cut ourselves off just a piece of this, and I've already done another one, so we'll do them both real quick. And it'll take a second, but we want to kind of heat it evenly all the way around. Let that glue start to come out. Then you'll see that glue oozing out, then we'll just pinch the end off. And we're going to do the same with this one. So we'll heat this. And we'll pinch that end off. Okay, so now that we have these, this is for 2 separate sides. We're going to take these guys, which are my triggers for the coils from the igniters, and we're going to, I'm gonna add them to this power wire. So these are the powers to the coils. The red with yellow is the power to the coils. So I have a set measurement here of 11 inches. So I'll run this up to 11. And then I'm going to add another zip tie here. And then this is actually going to get just twisted around these wires. The lower ones I have these black tracers on just so I can know during the assembly mode, even though they do the same thing, it kind of separates upper from lower. So we're going to do this. And bear with me, I'm still trying to get my feet wet on video production, I guess. Nothing I've really ever done before, but I really want to share some of the knowledge I have with everybody to, you know, hopefully make life easier for you. So then we're going to grab a little piece of this down here. We're going to use this tape. The tape, I use it everywhere that I'm going to cut a zip tie off. I want to put a little piece of the tape. Okay. Okay, so next we're going to heat shrink these upper sections. So real quick, we're going to slide this on. We're going to line this up how we want it. And we want this splice on the inside. So, and you'll see why in the future here when we get ready to, when we get down to adding the SCL. Okay, so we're just going to make sure everything looks nice and clean. We're going to do the back side of this. So we get a nice even shrink. Okay, there we go. So this is this side. Just like that. Now on this one, we want the splice on the inside. So we'll slide this up. We want our labeling all going uphill on this particular harness. Okay. And then we're going to put this joint on the inside. So now we have a mirrored setup here. We'll shrink this. Okay, and maybe we'll run it across the top here just to get a nice even shrink. All right, so there we have two sides. So on camera, what we're going to do is we're going to finish one side. We're going to twist these wires together, and we'll tape these up. So we're going to get this front top section twisted, and then we're going to heat shrink a couple little pieces of heat shrink on here, and then we'll move on to the next thing. So let me get this. We're going to twist up this guy. Okay, so we have a piece of 3/16. And actually, I need to remove this right here. Verify my length, which I'm correct. So we'll add this piece here. We're going to add this one to here. add this one to here. And these are backwards. So we're going to add that, and we're going to add this. All right. So let me get these back in frame because I think we kind of got out of frame there for a moment. I will shrink these up. And we just like nice even heat, but it takes a lot of heat actually to get this stuff to shrink. So we just back and forth until we get it how we want it. If it's loose, you can always go back over and just reheat it again. But you can almost see the twist coming out in the heat shrink, and that just that little bit of twist lets you know that you're shrunk, you're about correct. So we'll do these two. Okay. Okay. So now we're gonna cut one more piece of heat shrink. That will be for this section of the harness. And I'm gonna do these both at 19 inches. So go 19, another one. And then we're gonna get these to where we can kind of tape that joint and actually put that joint together. So I wanna show you how we do that with a piece of SCL. So we'll just do one for now on camera. I'll do the other one off camera. So now we've got, I like to make sure I try to get all my writing written and so that it lines up. On 1/8 inch, a lot of the time it'll have a lot of shrink. So a good habit I have is I shrink a couple inches on that end, and then I come up here, shrink a couple here. And then as I shrink the rest of the harness, I don't get any shrinkage on length. So we'll get this done. I'm sorry for the noise of the heat gun, but that kind of goes with the job here. Okay. So with that done, now we're going to actually take a piece of 1/2 inch high temp. We're going to take this joint, and you're going to see how when I transition off of here, I'll have, instead of us seeing this gap when we shrink it with the SCL, there will be no gap because the tape's going to take up that space. So we need a piece of 3/8. So here's a piece of 3/8. We'll cut just about 1 inch, be all we'll need. So this is SCL, and SCL has, it's embedded with glue. So when we heat it, it activates the glue, and it seals the joint. So we'll shrink this. And I'll show you here on camera, you'll see how the glue will ooze out from underneath and seal that joint. as you can see right there. And then we're just going to add a zip tie right here. And this just gives us added strength so that we're not pulling against that joint, and it'll last a lot longer than if we didn't add it. The option here would be to add a boot, and then a boot won't distort like the SCL will over time. So, but it comes at a cost. So I think for right now, we're good right there. I'm gonna finish up this other side and then we'll be back. Okay, so now we got both sides done. And now I'll show you that if you look at this here, if I went to put the tape, there would be actually a groove right there through there. Let's see how nice and smooth the transition is. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put one of these aside, and I'm only gonna do this side, and then I'll finish the other side off camera. So right now we're gonna start breaking out the harness. And to do so, we're gonna do the upper section, or actually the lower section first. So we're gonna find these 3 wires that have the black stripe on them. And actually that are the longest in our group here, so right here. And we'll pull these out. And we're gonna take 3 of these power wires, put them together. We're gonna come down here with our zip tie as close as we can get, and we'll pop that off. And then we'll start twisting these wires around each other. And this is going to be 8.5 inches long. Just keep twisting them till and when we're twisting them around each other, we're able to kind of keep the wires in a nice uniform, kind of in a smoother pattern. Sometimes, you know, you can just put a zip tie down there and start twisting up, and it'll twist pretty good. So there's other different options. It's all about, sometimes it's about just getting stuff done quick, so that, and it still has the same aesthetic value. So there's that one. Now we'll take these guys. We're gonna do the same thing. And this is only gonna be 4 inches long. So I'll twist these around, and you'll see here why I put that splice joint where I did. So we're just twisting them around each other, so it's nice and tight, right? And I got a tape measure on the side of my bench right here. So I will make sure that I'm got the right distances. And this one's 8.5. So shrink that down a little bit. About right there. Okay. So now we'll, again, we're going to use a piece of this tape. Wrap the harness right here. Another piece. There we go. We'll do another one right here. Okay, so we're going to remove these zip ties carefully so we don't cut the wires. It happens, believe me. And nothing like starting over if you do that. So, so this is going to use 1/4 inch. So I'm going to cut a couple pieces of heat shrink. one is 8.5. And one that's 4. Oh, there we go. Make sure our lettering all goes the same way. We're looking at that and that. We're good. To simplify things, I always use my power wires all the same length, but I cut them so that I'm not trying to, the wire may not exit the loom in the place that I need it to. So this way it just makes it a better transition. And then see, we have these 2 wires here, and now our joint will be parallel to it. Heat shrink wants to be on both sides, so we'll flip it over. We'll do this bottom side. I use this aluminum bench as a reflector. So they make tools that go on your heat gun that'll go around the harness like this, but I can actually lift it up and use the reflection off of this aluminum top to do exactly that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this tiny little guy here just to hold this in place when I remove the tie. I'm going to cut that zip tie, and we're going to get a piece of 1/2 inch. We're going to go right on the center of this joint. We're going to wrap this a couple of times. Now we'll take another piece and we'll wrap down from the top here. So we'll go like that, like that. And I think one more piece just on the bottom. Which gives us a good number. If this is 1/2 inch, that way we've got a 1/2 inch here to here. So we know that our joint will be really secure. So here we'll have to use a piece of 1/2 inch. Which I don't have a piece of. So I'll have to grab a piece and come right back. So this SCL comes in different lengths, or actually comes in 3-foot lengths, I'm sorry, but different sizes. So it comes in 8 3/16, 1/2 inch, 3/4, and quarter. This typically I need 1.5 inches. And this piece of SCL will shrink down. It's a little long, so what will happen is over that little node right there, where our splice is, it'll look all uniform as intended. So see how nice that transition is? And a little zip tie. Okay. So I'm going to stop the video here for today, and I'll resume again tomorrow, but we'll have like a second part of the video.